Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome. Today we have Jean Grant, and she is an author of a book called 100 Kisses. Jean, I know, Paul, if you can zero in on this. Where did I read about you? I'm wondering if it was in, the Sunday papers. There's a whole section where they'll say who's appearing where. It might have been, it might have been Tatnuk, that they advertise all the time who's coming. Might have been where I read about your book. And then I went online and I read about the story, and I said, let's see if we can't get her on here. So, Jean, this is your first book. Where did you come up with the title 100 Kisses?
Well, there's actually a curse in the book, a curse of 100 kisses, and that's where the title came. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of other title ideas based on the themes in the book, and I kept coming back to this title. And so when I submitted it to a publisher, I gave them this title, and I know that editors can change the name anytime they want. And I just hoped, I'm like, okay, if they want to change it, I have a few other ideas, but they didn't want to change it.
So you went to you didn't self-publish?
No.
Okay, so they chose the cover.
Yes, they assign you with a cover artist, and you cross your fingers and you fill out this form, and it has all kinds of questions, and I was very adamant about what I didn't want and what I did want on the cover, but ultimately it's up to the artist, and the one who did it, her name's Debbie Taylor, and she has her own website, and she's also a writer.
And she did a good job.
I was so thrilled. I was really happy.
I know, and I tell my authors, I say, you know what you did was great. You got very lucky with a great artist. Usually I say, if you self-publish, you got a good, this is up to you. You can design your own cover. And you got very fortunate that you were able to be hooked up with an artist who did a great job.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are like, oh my God, I want to do my own cover.
Right.
This is beautiful. It's got the castle on the top with it looks like the dead trees cut off on the bottom down here.
You can see there. There's kind of. And then it's like the mist, and there's standing stones.
And the lightning shark.
The
right?
lightning,
The lightning. Where did you get the idea for the story? Well, tell us briefly, without giving it away, what it's about.
Oh, I knew you'd ask me that.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's a 13th century Scottish historical romance. And, of course, it's going to have a happy ever after. Mm-hmm. That's the first rule with romance. So it's about a guy and a girl. The man has his own tortured past. He's pretty much on the run. He's running from a bad guy. Yeah. He's also working for the Scottish cause against the English rulers, the English kings. Yeah. So he's on the run, and he's kind of has this hidden identity. And then he runs into this woman, Deirdre, and she has her own secrets as well. I decided, after meeting with an agent who had read my manuscript, she said it needed a little bit more of a twist to it. Mm. This was back when I was trying to get it published years ago. And so I was like, what can I give her that's a twist? And so I gave her a little magical, mystical element. Yeah. So she has a special ability to sense people's auras or their emotions, and so she's called a feeler. She doesn't know why she has this ability. Her mother died when she was younger, and so she knows that her mother came from the Isles, the Western Isles of Scotland, and she wants to go there and find out more about what's going on with her. Sure. And also, in the beginning, we start out, and she wakes up, and her second husband is dead. For some reason, yes, that's the 100 Kisses curse.
This is how the prologue starts.
And so she twice now has been married, and her husbands die after they get married. Yeah. And she thinks she's cursed. She thinks she's doing something to them. Yeah. So she needs answers. Yeah. And so these two run into each other, and they both are heading to the Isles, and the rest is a journey, and there's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of intrigue.
Secrets and intrigue.
It's
a mystery.
There are bad guys. There's a lot of history in there.
Yeah. Would you call this a mystery, or what would you call it?
It's definitely a romance, but I really like to put a lot of history in, and I like to add in the suspenseful mystery kind of elements.
I love the prologue on Jean's book. Only one word, I'm going to just read this little squib. Only one word describes a woman widowed for the second time on her wedding night. Cursed. Deirdre had never believed in such a thing until the moment she awoke on the morning after her nuptials to Cortland, her second husband. And you go one breath, and she shot up right in bed. How long did it take you to write this? How long?
everybody asks that too. So I started this book many years ago, probably 4 years ago. I'm trying to pinpoint when I started this book. And I think at the time, while working and having kids and all that, it probably took me 6 months to a year to write the first draft. And then it takes you another 6 months to a year to revise.
Sure.
Then it takes you a couple of years to really either find an agent, find a publisher.
Yeah.
So that's how long it took. I got a publisher last summer. I decided I really tried the agent route and it wasn't working.
No.
And I wasn't ready to self-publish. I really wanted to go with a press. And so somebody had suggested try small press. And
Exactly.
And that's
They're
what I
working
did.
too. Yeah. They're good.
And so I sent to 2 small presses. One got back to me. She asked to read it. Within a month, she loved it and wanted to sign me. And then a year later, the book came out.
I love to see who people go with. You went with the Wild Rose Press.
Yes.
And they are out of New York.
Yeah, and they've been around 10 years. They have a really great reputation.
How'd you find them?
Google.
You just Googled them.
Yeah, Google. You read up on them. And all the editors are really involved with the authors. You
Yeah.
have to do a lot of work on your
That's
end,
good.
too.
Yeah.
But it's been nothing but a positive experience. They really keep in touch with you. We have weekly chats. You connect with other authors. They send you emails, a lot of promotional stuff.
Good. Now,
So
you've
I'm
been in
very happy.
Tatnuck already.
Yes.
You've been in Westboro. If you're from out of town, out of state, out of the country, we're talking about different places locally that a lot of authors find very helpful. And then you're going to be up at the Book Lovers Gourmet in Webster, which is an adorable bookstore.
Yeah.
And Deborah Horn, give her a little plug, she runs it, and she's very open to art, obviously, to the authors. She helps them out. There's a new children's a children's bookstore opening up in Sutton now called Enchanted. It's Enchanted Passages, Enchanted Passage, or something. Yeah, and that's good for my authors that write children's books.
Right.
Because we don't have enough of the. We've got plenty for our adults, but we don't have enough
Yeah.
of just zeroing in on the kids. So now you're going to be up there in Webster. Where else are you going to be?
Well, I've been in Barnes & Noble. I went to a Barnes & Noble in Leominster.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'm working on one in Worcester, trying to connect with them. They
Oh,
like the
oh,
one
yeah.
in Leominster. It was with 3 other authors, so it was
Yeah.
great to connect with them. And they had a children's book
Yeah.
author there as well. I've gone to a couple of libraries.
Yep.
The Rutland Library, the Holden Library,
Mm-hmm.
a coffee shop called Sweets and Java in Holden. They're really great with
Sweets and
supporting-
Java.
Yeah.
Now have you ever gone to Milford up the street? They have a big
No.
room. I'll give a couple of hints, but Milford has a room. We just saw an author there. Let me see. Westboro also has a room for authors' presentations. Northborough, all these libraries.
Yeah, you got to check all the libraries. And I heard Worcester, one of the Worcester libraries, Worcester Public Library, does a big author event in the spring.
Yes.
And so I need to check into that.
So that's called Sweets and Java,
Sweets and Java
and that's in Holden.
in Holden, yeah.
And it's actually a coffee shop, but
It's a great coffee shop.
and they
I
have
really love
authors.
them.
How do they stop people from talking and ordering in order to listen to you?
Well, what I did is I just have a table and I'm there for about 3 hours. And as people come in,
Did it work out? Did
Yeah.
people buy?
Yep, carry on a conversation. They purchase some books.
That is a
Have
great
coffee.
idea. People have, over the years, people have said, well, could you get me scheduled into a coffee shop? And I have talked to some authors who said they didn't have the good luck you did. They just kind of sat there and nobody came over to them. They were too busy having their coffee,
Yeah,
and they were on
yeah.
their little, what do you call them, computers and laptops. There you go. But I'm glad you had a good experience, and I will
Yeah.
definitely keep that in mind for other authors. But some libraries have a nice big room,
Yeah.
for authors. And you did a threesome over in Leicester,
Leominster,
Leominster,
is where I was. Yeah.
Barnes and Noble.
Yep.
That works out well. They do that in Milford too. Sometimes they'll have 3,
Yeah.
authors together. I don't know. If I was an author, I don't know. I guess I would want to share, but I'd also kind of want to have time to myself to talk with the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
What do you like the best? The bookstores, the libraries? What do you like?
I like libraries. I love our library. I go to our Rutland Library every week.
And are they very friendly to?
They're really friendly.
All
Yeah.
right.
They're great with my kids too. So I mean, a place that is a very friendly place for kids to go get books and explore. I love the library. And the coffee shop was really nice because it's a small coffee shop. It's not like you're in a big busy Starbucks.
Yeah.
And everybody there knows each other. People come in and you recognize people.
And you're a local author.
Yes.
I mean, that's absolutely
to be
great.
local,
That
yeah.
is really, really good. Now, you shared with me that you have another book coming.
I do. Well, nothing's out yet, and so I'm actually writing the prequel for this book. I've been busy.
The one before.
The one before. So this
How
is
do
actually,
people do that? How do you?
so originally this was a one-hit wonder kind of book for me. I had this plot idea and I wrote it. But as you're writing books, you start to fall in love with other characters in it, and as a reader too, you're like, I
Yes.
love a story about that.
As long as
person.
there aren't too many other characters, that's
Right.
when I get
Yeah.
yeah.
I do like some good secondary characters because they enhance they build the world and they enhance the plot. But I have 2 books in mind. One is writing a sequel, so the one that takes place after this, about one of their children. But the one I'm writing right now is about Deirdre's mother and father.
So that's how everything came about.
How
Nope.
it all came about.
I don't know if you can give this away, but with her special abilities as a feeler, to sense other people's emotions and all, are you going to kind of give it away as to perhaps where that originated in her family?
Oh yeah, it plays a much bigger role in the prequel. The prequel is 30 years beforehand, and her mother is a healer.
Oh, I
and,
see.
And if you, I don't know how far you got in the book, but she finds out she meets her aunt, who
Yeah.
also is a
I
seer.
got almost done. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it definitely runs strong in her family,
So-
and so the mystical element is stronger in the prequel, and it also the book takes place since it's 30 years earlier. It's in the Western Isles of Scotland. There is a Viking influence because the Norse were over in the Isles there. So
Are you Scottish?
my husband is Scottish.
I was just going to say, because I am. I'm very much so on my father's side, and I thought, she's awfully knowledgeable about Scotland.
I have loved Scotland. I loved Scotland before I even met my husband. I fell in love with Scotland when I read Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series. If you've heard about
Okay.
Outlander.
Yeah, the Outlanders.
They're very long,
Yeah.
but they're really great books. I've
You
been
like
reading
them.
them for 20 years.
Have you been to Scotland?
Yeah.
There's an Isle of Lewis.
Yes, we didn't get that far out.
And I know I did well, if your husband's Scottish, does he know? Do you know about every year over in Northampton, Mass, they have the Scottish Festival?
Yes. That
Oh, we went?
we have to go to that. We went to a Highlands game in Scotland. That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But this Scottish Festival, I mean, I don't know where they found all these bagpipe teams, but they had tons of them, plus clan tables, a genealogist, like almost like a little fairy band, like a pipe band or something. I don't know what it was. What was the other thing that
They tend to have dancing too.
Yeah.
The competitive dancing.
And then the guys lift those big logs.
Yep.
And they're doing that.
That's tossing the caber.
I was amazing that you could get. I think I got a T-shirt there with a Scottish lion. You know, it's really interesting. We had I think he's the director of it on a Cult Show a few years back, and we did go up there. It's a long hike from Upton to Northampton. It kind of is,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of fun. I certainly saw a ton of other Scottish people,
Yeah.
and you learn. And actually, I bought a little book called Kith and Kin, and it's about you can look up your name and see what clan belonged to you or did you belong to them. So if anybody out there is MacLeod, they were somehow attached to the Lewises. There's an
Yes.
announcer on, is it Channel 5 or BZ or Ken MacLeod? I think he's a journalist, reporter. But I'm dying to contact him and say, by the way, your clan is together with mine. Either
Yeah.
mine left yours or you left mine. One or the other. But then you look through your family. Has your husband found other Scottish?
Well, the last name is Grant. So Grants were really big and strong around Inverness. They had a lot of enemies. I mean, a lot of clans
Yeah.
did. And when we went there, they had several castles, but we weren't able to see any of them. One was owned by the Englishmen, one was privately owned, and one was closed. So
Is
we
this
tried.
the picture? Was this just drawn, or did she get that from?
That one. I think she was just inspired by what I explained,
Oh, yeah.
and they use a lot of stock art, and then they tweak it. They do magic.
Again, we are talking with Jean Grant, and she is the author of 100 Kisses, and it's a romance, but it's definitely got like Scottish history in it, adventure, mystery. There's a mysterious. It's obvious she's hiding her
Yeah.
talent for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I think that the prequel is going to be cool because it's going to kind of shed the light on how she got this ability. I mean, did it come out of the air? But you're going to say that her aunt, and who is it? Her mother.
It's
was
her
it?
mother. The mother's the primary.
Yeah.
The stories about her.
Yeah, the mother was
first
the
book.
healer.
Yes.
The healer. Her father didn't have any.
No, sorry.
Now, so when do you think this prequel will come out?
Well, I'm writing it right now. I'm about a third of the way through the first draft.
Yeah.
My hope is to get that done by year's end and
Okay.
get it to my editor by then.
By early,
Written, yeah. So I'm hoping by next year.
by 2018, maybe January, February?
Oh no, it takes from the time the editor says yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes almost a year before
Okay.
your book comes out.
So be sure to let us know.
Yeah.
Because
Next
we'll have you
year,
back
maybe.
on again. Now, how can they get a hold of your book, Jean?
Oh, there's many ways to get a hold of my book. Okay, first of all, I have a website. It's jeanmgrant.com. You could purchase it from the wildrosepress.com, or you could go on Amazon. It's available as both ebook and a print book. You can also get it with any other ebook viewer, like Barnes & Noble has it as an ebook, iTunes, any place that you can get an ebook.
Tell, did you know you were going to be a writer when you were a kid?
Yeah, I've liked writing since I was really young, like 11 or 12.
So many authors tell me this.
Yeah.
They start off a little bit. I always wonder if the teachers are savvy enough to see this and grab the kid early. Did the teachers?
No, I had a lot of interests. So writing was one. I started with writing like kind of just girly short stories and poetry. I really liked art. My mom was an artist. And
Did you design your book too? I used to draw. I'd write a book and then I'd draw the princess or something.
Yeah, I would draw a lot.
Yeah.
And so my art teacher was my mentor, so I really followed her around, and I kind of wrote here and there. And then in high school, I went down a totally different path. I like science as well. I think I got that from my dad. The art from my mom and the science
You're
from my
thinking
dad.
on both sides of your brain.
Yeah. And so I actually went to school for science. I decided to do that.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Kutztown University in Pennsylvania and then Penn State College for my graduate studies. So I did a lot of science. I have a couple of ology degrees.
What did you do with it when you got out?
So I worked for a while. I did some research and development in microbiology and immunology.
Yeah.
But I still wrote. So when I was about 20, during college, I'm like, I got to start writing a novel. And so I wrote a novel. I actually wrote 3 novels before this one was published. So I have 3 novels that are
About the same person?
different stories.
Totally.
Same, similar time period. It's 100 years earlier. It's
Romance?
still Scotland, romance,
Yeah.
right? I call them my practice novels. So over the last 15 years, I wrote 3 books. Practice, got really good at what I did. I hope.
And you have an 8 and a 10-year-old. Where are you finding the time? I know what it's
in
like.
the nooks and crannies.
I know what it's
Early
like to have an
morning.
8-year-old or a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I've been there, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You wait till they get to bed.
Or I wake up really early.
Oh.
I took some years off when I especially was working and my kids were younger, and I've done part-time work. And so now I actually am not working. I am at home full-time writing.
So then you have your office right there?
Yep. And that's a new change. I just started that a month ago.
Were you originally from Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
So what brought you out here?
Work. My husband's job brought him up here. We've been here a decade. My son was a baby when we moved here.
And you're up in Rutland.
Yep.
How many minutes is that from here, basically?
Probably like 40 minutes, 45.
It's not too bad. And you came through via Worcester today,
Yeah, I took a...
and then you came
Longer
down
way.
146. That's fine too. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can find your way, that's pretty cool. Most people, I think, coming from Worcester, I say just get on 122, head for Grafton, get on 140, and you're going to be here.
Yeah.
A lot of guests take 495. That is such a direct route. Just get off in Hopkinton. You're 8 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good one. This is, I would say, not a fat book, but it's not a skinny book.
No.
This is a
It's about 88,000 words.
Yeah.
which typical novel length is anywhere, I think they say from 60,000 to 100. Once you reach 100,000 words, then you're getting big.
Yeah.
Outlander books are like 800 pages.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is like
Harry
really
Potter?
long. Harry Potter's great, but long.
Too
Yeah.
long for
Yeah.
me, too. What's the title of the new one coming? This is 100 Kisses.
Oh, I am not
Oh,
gonna
come
say.
on. Oh.
But I'm gonna play on the 100. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna, and the next one, the sequel will also have 100 in it.
So you're going to do that, too.
I think so. We'll see what my editor says.
I wonder what the cover will be like.
Yeah, something Viking-ish, I hope.
Where are you going to be appearing besides Book Lovers Gourmet? What else have you got coming up?
That's it right now, but I'll work on some other places.
Yeah, there's so many. There's a lot of places. Have you ever been? Well, you haven't yet, I don't think. Every July, I talk about it a lot, but they have the New England Authors Expo in Danversport.
Okay.
It is held like in a gorgeous ballroom,
Yeah.
and authors of all different genres come in there. I've been there for many years. I've gone and visited it.
That's July. Okay, I'll try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, the end of July,
Yeah.
probably the last Wednesday of July every year.
Hmm.
And I always tell the authors, make sure you don't go alone, because obviously you're going to want to go to the bathroom once in a while, but you also want to get up, walk around with your book, and schmooze with the other authors.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is 1 or 2 other authors who know what you do in your book to get the word out somewhere else,
Yes.
so that somebody with their interest in you
Well, I just joined. I used to be a member, and then I just rejoined Romance Writers of America as an organization,
Yeah.
and they have a local chapter that meets. They have a conference, a New England conference. I think it's in the spring, and then there's one down in Florida once
I
a
think
year.
I just, was it for somebody else? I've just found out about the New England, no, yeah, is it the Massachusetts Romantic Writers or New England Romantic Writers?
Okay.
Which
I don't know.
Which is the one you were just mentioning?
Well, this is Romance Writers of America, and then they have a New England
Base.
chapter.
Where do they meet? Do you know?
It's not far from here.
Okay.
I forget where
It's
it
not far.
is. It's in central Massachusetts. It's closer to Boston.
Well, if you go online and you look up book meetups or book groups, I wish there was a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
Because libraries are great. Even our library here, they have like a book group.
Yeah.
You read a book. The drill. You read the book that
Yeah.
month, and then you all sit down and talk about it. The only problem is, if you're not interested in that book, but you still want to go to, it's kind of
Yeah.
tough to keep up with the other people. But going to libraries too. I mean, it's not always easy because not all libraries have a facility. I know Grafton is terrific. Now they're going to be getting a huge addition. They're going to have them redo. So I bet you they're going to have an event room in
That
there.
would be good.
Oh yeah, we're hoping Upton can have a nice new library too, but you don't know. But like I said, Milford has it, Northborough, Westborough. I've been to all of them, and they
I
famous
just
people.
need to hop around and find all the places.
Oh, well,
connect.
that's what I did. Yeah.
And you meet with other authors too. You establish writing groups, and you have you call them your beta readers or your
Yes.
critique partners. So I have my coveted people who have read every one of my manuscripts and give me feedback.
Yep.
I'm hoping to make some more connections at the Romance Writers group. Twitter is a great place to meet people, even if you've never met them in person.
Yeah.
You can find really good critique partners.
Have
on
you
Twitter.
thought? I mean, you're so good. You can tell if somebody be a good leader. Have you thought of starting your own writers
Could.
group?
Good.
You
Put that on the to-do list.
to do. Well, it's not that she has anything to do. I mean, she's an 8 and 10-year-old. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got 2 boys.
I'm starting a chess club for my oldest.
Oh, a chess club?
Yeah, he likes chess, and so I'm like, okay, we'll start a chess club.
That is us. Does Daddy play chess? Does
He
play?
does, I don't.
Oh, I can't. I don't
so
get
I'm
it.
getting Dad involved with
I can
that.
do checkers.
I can do checkers
I just
and
don't
other
have
games.
patience for chess.
No.
You have to have a certain. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
To me, it's boring. Now, some people can't play Monopoly because it's too long.
Yeah, we like Monopoly in our house, but we play an abbreviated version.
What's the abbreviated version?
We just you can get things earlier when you're going around. You
Oh.
don't have to get the Monopoly in order to get houses.
You don't have to buy the 3 or 4 in order to have the little red house. on
Yep.
it.
We do
Never
it
heard of
faster.
that.
Yeah, that's the short way. You can make up any rules you want with games.
Yeah, but you play
with kids.
I don't want to say cutthroat, but I'm pretty serious when I play.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to get this property, and some people don't want to play that
Yeah.
cutthroat. Yeah. Well, we're talking with Jean Grant, and Jean, again, how can they get your book?
Okay, so they can, the best way, I think the first stop is Amazon. When in doubt, go to Amazon and look for the book there.
Yeah.
And you can get ebook, you can get it print. The Wild Rose Press also has it, and any other place like iTunes. You can go to my website. My website has I blog on my website as well. And so that's jeanmgrant.com. And they can go there. I also do magazine articles too, in my
Where?
free time.
Where?
So I've been starting to travel to places and write about traveling. Mostly it's traveling with children.
Mhm.
And so, I've written articles and they're all on my website too. I've been to Lake Placid, Cape Cod. Recently I just came back from Door County, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I wrote about that.
What
and
drew you to Wisconsin?
They asked me if I wanted to go.
They did up there?
Yes, my editor
Oh,
did.
they asked you to.
Yes.
So you actually could write your travel journals too.
Yeah. So it started out, my family, we took a trip with our kids 2 years ago, and I wanted to write about it because I had mentioned to you that my son has autism, and so I wanted to write about traveling with kids with autism. And so I reached out to this one magazine. Again, it was a small magazine, and she loved my story idea, and since then she's given me more assignments.
How is that? That is so good. It gets you out there and different things. Are you contribute? You could contribute to any magazine locally. I mean, there's the
Yeah.
Worcester. There is a Worcester magazine.
I reached out to Bay State Parent, haven't heard back from them yet.
Yes.
A lot of it is reaching out and waiting for connections.
It's called a squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
I've dealt with them. I've dealt with some other ones. Sometimes you just have to keep
Just got to be persistent. That's how you get published too. Is you keep at it. You know, this
Yeah.
took me almost 20 years before I got my 4th book to
Yeah.
be
Definitely.
published.
So this took you about a year.
a couple years.
A couple years to get it done. It's going
Yeah.
to take you about a year to get your next one.
I think the next one's going to go a lot faster now that I'm doing it full time. You know, I'm not distracted by another day job.
How many sequels are you going to have?
Well, this will be 3. I'm hoping it'll be a trilogy. I've also written another manuscript that is not a romance. It's a women's fiction. And that one is done, but I'm working on trying to find a literary agent
What's
or
it called?
a publisher. I'm not going to give out
Oh!
my books.
Well, anyway, you could, besides where she's giving you how you can get a hold of her book, 100 Kisses.
Yes.
Go downstairs to the Upton Library. That will be up at the author's wall. Or if it's not there yet, just ask Matt, our librarian, and he will dig it out for you. And you get to read it yourself, and you can look forward to the prequel, the one that, the story that behind this story that'll be coming out in about a year. And
I
then
hope
you think
so.
there's a third one coming after.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she's got it.
You
She's
write
got-
books in 3s. That's what they say. You know,
She's got it nailed. Were there, how many Harry Potter books were there?
8.
8?
Is there 8 or 7? 7 or 8. We've read them all. We've seen all the movies. Yeah, she
Yeah.
kept going and going. And Outlander is the same way. I think she has 8. She's working on number 9, I think. And she wrote novellas,
Yeah.
which seemed like a fun thing to do too. You know, write a smaller novel.
Do you ever get like a block, like it's as far as I can go right now, and you have to come back to it?
Yeah, sometimes. I think my problem is I have too many ideas. You can have a block with the story. You can get to a point where you're like, I really don't know how I want to handle this scene or whatever, and so I might jump ahead
Yeah.
and write something else that I know.
Yeah.
And for this one, I did a lot of pre-writing. I did a lot of outlining, and I planned out the plot ahead of time so that I'm hoping that when I go back, there's a lot less revision. That my
You're
story's
good. You've
clean.
got you sort of some authors are all over the lot.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Some are very good at organizational timetables. You know, I think I would have to make myself do that because I think I would be ahead of myself too much.
Yeah.
Like, let's focus.
Yeah.
Focus on this part of the story. Focus on this next part. I would really have to discipline myself to do that. Thank you so much, Jean, for being on the show. We're going to
you.
look forward to your next one, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, you let us know. We'll see you next time and be my guest.